Press start.
All right, let's hear about this some small indie film, The Batman, that just released. I do want to get some spoiler-free thoughts. If you're worried listening to this that we're going to spoil that, of course, Jeff and Kyle, who have seen it, will not spoil this movie. But give us your impressions of this movie and what do you think?
No. Next topic.
Okay.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
So I saw it Wednesday night. I saw it at a fan event, which is really, it was just a screening anybody could go to and just buy a ticket. But the great thing about it is when I got there and sat down on my seat at showtime, they just gave you a countdown that says movie's starting in 10 minutes. There was no trailers. That was the best part because the movie's 3 hours. That was the best. I was like, sweet, I'm getting out of here like at 9. Oh, it's awesome. Anyway, so the opening of this movie is not the very opening, but the opening involving Batman is like one of my favorite Batman movies openings, like probably ever, at least for his character, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's the first scene involving him.
Sure.
Because the very first scene in the movie doesn't involve him. I'll just say that. So the next scene, so he's giving like a voiceover, which is not common. I don't think that's ever happened in a Batman live action movie, where he's doing a voiceover like it's a detective movie. You know, like the night is rough. It's Gotham.
Yeah, the night is cold and I'm dark. You know.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Yeah. He doesn't say that. The writing's way better, but like that's the vibe.
Yeah. So like, I first off, I immediately love that.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of like focuses on like, this isn't really a spoiler because it's not giving away any of the story, but it focuses on like 3 different crimes happening at the same time. And as he's doing the voiceover, he's explaining, I can't be everywhere at once. And so this is the second year of being Batman. You can find that out in like a synopsis and stuff. So criminals know who he is. They see the sign, the bat signal come up, and criminals lose their mind. Like they get filled with fear. They look in the darkness and they think Batman's there. You know, like they're like, he could be coming out of the shadows right now. And so when he does finally come out of the shadows, you hear boots. You hear boots walk, and it's just a presence. There's a presence to him that's unlike any Batman movie that I've ever seen.
Matt Reeves has a real master, and I know that he has an audio guy, but like whoever he and his team is who like oversaw like the sound of this movie, and I'm not talking the soundtrack, but like the auditorial cues and stuff like that, completely masterful and out of this world. Like some of the best sound design in a movie I think I've experienced in a long time.
Every single scene Batman's entering, like there's some scenes he's already in, or they're not as important. It's not as important that he show up in a dramatic way, but every scene that he's entering, like from out of frame or coming in, he's always coming in from the darkness, and you always hear these really heavy boot steps. So it's always something like he sounds super intimidating without even doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like people are like freaked out by him, and then he beats ass. Of course, he's awesome.
Well, and he's like like, you know, this is his early years, so like, and you see this in the trailer where he like kicks, like just keeps on punching that guy over and over again. You know, shocks some guy with like his gauntlets. Like he's brutal in this movie, in not like a way that we saw like Christian Bale's and Adam West.
Christian Bale already had a noble precedent to be Batman, or at least his version of it, where like he saw what Liam Neeson's was doing was wrong. He was like, I don't agree that this is the right way. And so he already had his moral compass. It was there, you know? And this, Batman is mad. He's freaking angry. And that is driving his purpose to be Batman. And it's about his evolution as being Batman. Because he's obsessed with being Batman. He loves beating the crap out of people that in his mind deserve it, that are like low lives that drag down the city more or less. He's just obsessed by it to the point that Bruce Wayne is like in 15 minutes of the movie. Like he just does not want to be Bruce Wayne at all.
I gotta say, hearing that's kind of refreshing because I feel like a lot of superheroes, their go-to storyline is their struggle with balancing their alter ego with their superhero side, and then almost always at some point they either partially or fully give up the superhero and then eventually get pulled back into it. I'm getting a little tired of that.
This is the
storyline,
opposite.
so
Like,
I
it's
love
like
hearing that.
it's like
Yeah.
he's given up on being Bruce Wayne.
I
you
kind of
know?
love
Like,
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Which is again, that's another refreshing take on this, and it's about how that stance is kind of going to be forced to evolve, depending on the enemy that he's facing or like whatever. So I mean, there's definitely growth there, and there's a reason for it. So if you hear, you're going to hear this criticism a lot. I wish Bruce was in it more, or I wish he was more of a Bruce Wayne. It's like there's a story reason for
Yeah,
that
you're
not
not watching the
happening,
movie, yeah.
and you're just not observant. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, Matt Reeves knows how to make a movie, man. Like he did the 2
Oh, yeah.
follow-ups to the Planet of the Apes. Like he didn't do the
Oh,
Rise,
dude,
I don't
those
think.
movies,
but
oh
he
my
He
did.
didn't do Rise, but I love Rise. Yeah.
Rise is great, but Dawn and War were
Jesus.
both super epic
War
and
are
Oh my
awesome.
beautifully
God.
shot.
And you know how he does that thing where he dwells on a shot or a scene.
Yeah.
He does that a lot here. He's
That's
like
why this
kind of,
movie's 3 hours long. You know, to
Yeah,
be
he's
honest.
kind of
Like, the
demanding
movie
you to-
breathes. Every scene breathes.
Yeah.
You're never. It's not cut to hell. You're not jumping around everywhere. This
Mhm.
movie is so consistently one story, and I think it takes place over the course of like 6 nights or something like that. I think it like starts on
like a week. Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
week. 'Cause he
I think
says
it's
the date at the
Halloween the
end.
31st,
Yeah.
and then I think the
It's
ends on
it's a
November
reference
6th.
to the long Halloween arc. Yeah.
And like so, but like you feel like you're there for all 6 days, and it's not like jumping around everywhere and cutting nine. He does,
Right.
and that's a Matt Reeves thing. Like, yeah, this is more of a compliment to him than it is like the movie. I don't know, like there was a lot going on in this movie that is, I don't know, I think maybe Jeff will agree with me that people are just not going to be for, you know, like this movie is basically like it's a crime thriller, you know, it's a detective crime thriller. It's not like, it's almost not a superhero movie.
Well,
I
that's
love when
what
that
Batman
happens.
was
That's what
originally.
Batman
was. Yeah,
That's
he's
what
the
his
world's greatest
actual
detective.
original form, right?
I mean, like
and-
he is doing like 90% of this movie is him doing detective work. You know what I mean? So it's like all these people who were even complaining all these years about like, oh, Batman needs to be more of a detective. Like, this is it. Like, this is like,
Yeah.
this feels very film noir. It's shot film noir. The
I will say
narration is film noir.
I've
you know?
always defended Bruce. Bruce is mainly the one doing detective work in the Nolan movies, but I've always defended him doing detective work in Dark Knight because like that's, to me, that's
does a
still
lot
the
of detective work.
masterpiece.
Yeah.
That's still the masterpiece, not maybe as a Batman movie, but like as a Batman versus Joker movie, I guess. I don't really know how to phrase it at this point. But that movie's still like the masterpiece, and this movie is probably like right below it. Like, I mean, that's how much I love it right now. Like he had that scene where he's trying to identify the fingerprint in a bullet, and I'm in Dark Knight, and I'm like, people forget that just to complain about him not doing detective work.
Yeah,
I'm like,
No, he literally did detective work.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is, because it's about a serial killer. Him and Gordon, by the way, they work together. They share the most scenes together, honestly.
It's a buddy cop movie at some
Yeah.
points, you know?
So it's a
like,
buddy.
they're
Yeah,
kind of
exactly. It's a
bickering with
buddy
each
cop
other.
movie in a way. They're trying to identify the Riddler, like establish his motive, who his next victims are, why are they such high class, whatever you want to call it, upper class not criminals, upper class like politicians and stuff. What's going on there? There's got to be a reason behind it.
Wait, is Riddler the serial killer, or is that a separate? Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He is the bad guy. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's leaving notes for Batman like that.
Sure.
And Matt Reeves has said in interviews like his biggest inspiration is Seven, and like this movie is like.
Yeah,
you guys like
I get
Seven?
that.
You're gonna
Yeah,
love
I
this
get-
movie.
Yeah,
I don't feel like we don't get a lot of movies like that anymore. So
Or Seven with Batman.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
So
It's
what's
true,
it-
we don't. Yeah.
Is this
you
rated
love
R?
like
or-
David Fincher, like dark
PG-13.
thrillers, like this
Is it? Okay.
dude, and it skirts the line. Like if you told me this
Yeah.
movie was rated R, I'd be like, yeah, it was totally rated R.
Yeah, because there's an F-bomb. It's not Batman. It's not some try-hard line, but there's an F-bomb
That's
in it.
unfortunate.
But I think the way that they danced around it very nicely is that, yes, there is violence, but a lot of it's implied, actually. And it's just the fact that the person committing the violence is so brutal that you just assume it's nasty. You know what I mean? But they're not showing you grotesque headshots or anything. They're kind of like filming it in a way, maybe playing with the lighting, or the camera cuts last second. Where it's
Dude,
like,
think about that sometimes that's
not
more
an R-rated
effective.
movie.
Think
Yeah,
about
I think sometimes it is more
that
effective.
final scene in Braveheart where they're ripping him to pieces, but you don't see it.
No.
Well,
But you see
it up here,
everyone's
yeah.
you hear him, and you see there's like a little jester off on the side that's like pretending
Yeah.
and then you see the faces of people that love him in the crowd that are watching. and that's all you need to see to know. Like that's more effective to me
remember,
than them doing
you've
all
seen,
the
you guys have
special
seen
effects.
you guys have seen the trailer, right? Where he beats up somebody and says, "I'm vengeance."
Yeah.
That's how it is in the movie. He's beating somebody, and all you hear is the sound effect of somebody getting their freaking head punched in.
He is
So,
off
like,
screen though. It's just
yeah,
you
so it
just see
just
his
sounds
like,
brutal, you know.
My
and
God,
it's like,
he's just continuously beating the shit.
yeah.
I like to think it's like Family Guy where he goes way too long. It's like, are they gonna keep doing that?
Yeah.
yeah,
Like 3
yeah.
minutes. Like
Yeah, 3 minutes.
So there is that concern with his motivation, but they do touch on the no kill thing. He's very firmly like no kill. They're not
No
going to change
guns,
that.
no kill. Yeah, no guns,
Yeah.
no kill. Yeah.
God.
I was going to actually
go ahead.
mention my favorite part is the Batmobile reveal. Like, I think that's like the part that gave me the chills because like they're like there's kind of a scuffle and the bad guys are like about to get the drop on somebody, and then you just see like again from the freaking shadows you see headlights, and you're like, what is this? And he's just revving for like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, just and the sound design, it sounds like a freaking monster, dude. And you're like, oh, like it's about to go down.
You're reacting the same way as the baddies are. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
And you
Dan,
see
it
the
sounds like-
Batmobile in the
like
trailers, but like this,
As a big Dragon Ball fan, Dan, you're gonna love that part. It sounds like just
that's
building
great.
up, building.
again, that's Matt
charging,
Reeves.
just charging off engine.
Matt Reeves is like, taking this shot, taking this moment, because the enemies are like, what the hell is that? Oh, I should run now. So, so and then it leads to that amazing chase scene that's his.
You see in the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of see in the trailer, I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's a great.
Anyway, speaking of Penguin, amazing. Colin Farrell underneath all of that makeup. I had no idea where Colin Farrell began. It was all just Penguin to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big Colin Farrell fan. Kind of annoys me. I do like him.
He's good, man.
I do. Like, that's fine. You know, it's called opinions. You know, but like I enjoy him.
But how you doing?
I enjoy him in a few. I enjoy him in a few things, but most things I don't enjoy him in. You know, he is transformative in this. He's riveting. He's amazing. You know,
funny.
like
he's funny too.
He's funny.
He's a lot of the humor in this
I think
movie.
first thing I saw him in was a small role in Minority Report, which I thought he was great in.
I hate him in that movie. He chews gum the whole movie. He's so obnoxious.
But he's good at that role. That's what he's supposed to be.
He does kind of have like a douchey vibe around
him. You know what?
Right?
You're right about that. He actually is supposed to be embodying my reaction to him.
That's what sells the switch when it's real. He's not the bad guy.
Yeah,
and it's old guy McGee who's the bad guy.
That is true. I will give you that one for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like he's supposed to be pompous, and you're supposed to be like, this guy's
Let's talk about
dick.
Phone Booth, guys.
Phone Booth.
Hey,
classic.
Let's
talk about The Recruit, guys. Come on, let's talk about The Recruit, everybody.
In Bruges is one of the best movies.
In Bruges, I love him in Bruges, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So, I don't hate the guy. I tend to not like them more.
Sorry for calling you.
Keep talking about the movie. I'm gonna look up more Colin Farrell movies. Go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, throw some at me. I really like Colin Farrell in this movie. I think he's amazing. I really think Paul Dano is like we're gonna think back on this movie in 10 years, hopefully in 10 weeks, and just go, that was one of the greatest villain performances of all time. Like just in terms of like embodying a psychopathic incel type of character, you know, like it's amazing. You know, I think he does a really good job.
The serial
he does most of it under a mask. Like,
yes,
I mean, it's not the way that Batman is. He covers all of his face,
right? Yeah,
and you don't see it until like the last like half hour, and that's when you start to see the actual acting happening, like facial expressions. And he is a very unsettling person.
Very unsettling.
He can be. So I mean,
if he's a serial killer, then yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't expect his facial expressions to be. He's very animated and like just
very.
It's uncomfortable.
I mean, so that's like a mixture of like what the Riddler is, which I mean, he is an animated character, right? He's the Riddler.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I never thought we were gonna have like a Riddler on screen that wasn't cartoonish, like a Jim Carrey, or like how he is in most versions of him. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Picture the Arkham style like Riddler, where I'm setting traps. I'm kind of like the Saw bad guy.
Right.
It's that. But somehow darker and more sinister, you know. So it's like,
and he's smarter too than the guys that are trying to catch him. Like
he's way smarter, and then the whole thing is like he's all bronze, you know. Like this guy is like he's a thinker, you know.
It's the fact that because I didn't realize they were coming at it from the angle of him being a serial killer. That makes it way more unique and interesting and darker, obviously.
Very. From the opening scene, it shows you exactly what type of movie it's going to be with that villain.
Yes, the opening scene really kind of sets the stage.
Man,
for...
that opening scene.
Oh boy, you guys are gonna love this movie. Like there's a lot to really enjoy about this movie, and you can sit here and talk all day.
The only other question I have about it is, does Zoe Kravitz make more than one facial expression? Because that's all I've seen in the trailers and posters is her making that same exact mouth a little bit open, staring as if she's on some serious drugs. Does she have any other facial expression, or
she
is
makes
that
as many facial expressions as Robert Pattinson makes, which they don't really.
They're not
both very
emotive
stoic
people.
actors.
She's a Kristen Stewart style approach. I get it.
Well, I mean, she's playing a serious Catwoman.
I don't know. Kristen Stewart's got a lot of variety now, so I don't know.
Dude, I remember seeing someone put together.
She was great as Princess Diana, so I'll just say that.
I've seen I think she's probably grown since then, but back during her main Twilight days, right?
Oh my God, dude!
Oh, so now we're gonna do the Robert Pattinson on her. You know? These two Twilight actors shouldn't be in anything ever. Yeah.
So all I know is someone did a compilation of her in all these different roles, including Twilight, where and you guys have probably seen this, where it has the description of the emotion underneath, but it's all the same expressions in all these different movies. Yeah. So anyway, that was the only thing.
It was the same thing with Pattinson in those movies. Those movies are just horribly directed.
No, I'm saying it wasn't just those movies. Like I've seen her in lots of other stuff, even stuff like Adventureland, which I think is a great movie, but she is super dull in. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like.
I'm glad you brought that movie up. That's not a movie a lot of people have seen, and I love that movie.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie, and I actually liked her in it, but I still was like, yes, she's just kind of a very subtle.
More recently.
She's done a lot of stretching since then, I think. Even in Charlie's Angels, she's like having fun and stuff, and I'm like, who is this?
I didn't see that one.
You should, because they're
hot.
What's
that one that's like in the water? What's the one that I wanted to see that? It actually looked interesting.
Oh, it was something.
Underwater. It was just Alien, but
underwater.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That actually
wasn't that inventive, but it wasn't that bad either.
Okay.
All right. So Batman is a full-on recommend. See in theater.
Yeah, full-throated recommend. It's my favorite movie of the year, and I've seen a lot. You guys know I've seen a lot of movies.
At least 3.
I have not, and this is definitely my favorite movie. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, go see it. If you like Batman, you're gonna like this. It just might be too long for some people. It may just be too dialogue-y for other people. So No. I don't feel like you have to like bring your thinking cap to this one. It's more so just like it's a detective noir movie, and like those movies are chatty, you know. So like just kind of going like knowing that, you know. But the action's great, and it's high octane.
And the score is amazing too. You would have thought that Hans Zimmer couldn't be top. I mean, not that he's topped, but couldn't be matched. And the score is just fantastic because it's like a play on that, you know, the Something in the Way song, the Nirvana song that's kind of played through the trailers. The score, the Batman theme, is a take on that, where it's da, and that's the same like interval and chord structure as Something in the Way, which I thought that was super fascinating.
I love when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, and they did it for the Riddler too. Yeah,
I do remember when the music for Inception was actually a really slowed down version of what's the piece? You know what I'm talking about, though, right? It's just incredibly slowed down.
Song they play in the movie. Yeah,
it's really, really good.
I forget the name of it, but it's super famous. Yeah.